안녕하세요. 림페이시 싱가포르 남자입니다. 네, 안녕하세요 여러분들. Beautiful, rather cold autumn morning here in Istanbul. The beautiful fountain park here in Taksim Square area. You can see all the trees are pretty much shaded, going into deep autumn. And here I am early in the morning, just woke up not so long ago. Still looking woke up-ish. And discussing the big things in life, the purpose of life once again. Now, so before you continue on this video, make sure you have watched this video on what is the one single indisputable scientific purpose of life. Okay, in that video I explained very deeply, so unless you watch that, the rest of this video is not going to make sense. Okay, please watch that video first to understand what is the purpose of life. Okay, now welcome back. Now for some of you who have watched that video, some of you might be wondering, like, if the purpose of life is determined by the brain's function of collecting and storing data, then why isn't the purpose of life reading more, reading on the internet more, reading more books, collecting more information, and learning more by reading, and by doing a lot of reading? If you have been following my live streams, you know I keep saying that I don't read books and I don't recommend reading books as a way of receiving knowledge, right? Now, why is the purpose of life, okay, the collection of data in the way of experiences and not just reading books and getting information from the internet? Well, I'm going to explain this in two different perspectives. The first perspective is this. Now, if the purpose of life is to get knowledge through the proliferation of information through books and internet, then what we're really saying is that human beings for millions and millions of years, until as early as about 100 years ago, okay, has not lived their purpose of life. You know why? Because books, internet is the last 20 years thing, okay? Books is the last 100 years thing. Before that, for millions of years, okay, or at least for the last 5,000 years of recorded history of mankind, books only exist in very small quantity for very specific classes of people, for the kings, for the nobles. Only these people ever read any books, okay? Most commoners would never have read any book all their lives, okay? Don't even talk about internet. Internet didn't even exist, okay? So, for millions and millions of years, until about 100 years ago, when publishing became so big and everybody could afford to read and have books, mankind didn't have any books. So mankind never fulfilled our purpose in life for millions of years. It doesn't sound very credible, right? It sounds rather silly, yeah? And number two is this. Now, you can read a book about any country, let's say Korea. You can spend 10 days reading a thick book about Korea, but you won't beat you going to Korea for 10 days personally. You can read 10 books about an apple and indeed have a very vivid imagination of what eating an apple must feel like, what it must taste like, what is nutrition, but it will never beat just you eating one real apple for real. This is the thing. This thing here is designed to learn not from information. Information from books and internet will always be just information in your head, and mostly will not be translated, and mostly give you only a very single-dimensional, like one-sided perspective. Why? Because if you've never done something for real, you will not be able to receive this full experience and full dimension of information. So even if you read 10 books about apples, you are going to learn about maybe 1,000 things about the apple. But when you eat an apple for real, you can write 1,000 books about that apple. This is how powerful experience is, which is why experience is the only way mankind have made any real discovery and learned anything real for the past millions of years. Einstein didn't come up with E equals to mc squared by reading a book about E equals to mc squared. Newton did not write the laws of physics by reading a book about physics. all of them learn by discovering truths in real life. Okay, and that is the purpose of life. The accumulation of data, as varied data as possible, in the way of as varied experiences as possible. And then you start to go in, understand way deeper this thing called life. Rather than reading about life, start living life. Right? That is the purpose of life. Annyeong.